All right, bear with me here. So when you work, there's the function of what you do, which has a market value, which is then determined by whatever you're going to be offered for it and whatever you'll accept for it. It's the function, the end result of your effort, your work, what they get in return. But then what the actual value is, and that decides whether or not you get to keep your job or get hired in the first place or welcomed into a group or taken out of a group, is a sort of value that you bring as a person, like your soul, your personality, your energy. And the argument is that you don't get paid for that. You don't get valued for that. That comes as a bonus to the employer or to the people in charge, is the energy you bring to something, is whether or not you're good to be around, whether or not you smile, whether or not you're fun, whether or not like you just have an attitude that makes things flow smoother. Because ultimately, no one wants to be around someone who makes them unhappy or sad all day. They want to be around people who make them happy. And employers want people who will bring extra, like, what's the best way to phrase this? If your job in the way, like, if your knowledge and your skills are not irreplaceable, if they're not invaluable, if they're not one of a kind that allow you to demand a priceless amount of money, you need to have something else about you that is invaluable, that is not replaceable, and it does have value, at least to have value in a function in like a capitalist society. And that's kind of just the thing. And that's what you need to understand when you look for work, and what you need to understand that employers are looking for when they're trying to find someone to look for. Like it's when you have a job interview, it's not about your skills. It's a personality test. It's about how well you get along with people. Unless you're completely invaluable and they can't find anybody else, it's just purely a personality test. And I think the biggest thing that we're going to have to deal with this year, next year, the next couple of years, is all of us in some way or another are going to be out of a job. We're going to have job issues. We're going to have fears about losing our job. We're going to get replaced by AI. We're going to get replaced by things that can do our function more efficiently and better than we can. And so then what is left for you as far as how you are valued and as far as how you survive if your function is replaceable? If suddenly what you thought was invaluable skills and invaluable knowledge is now commodified and the market value for it has tanked. Now you can get a robot, you can get an AI, you can just get, the labor pool goes in the direction of your work. Like, how do you keep yourself winning and safe? And I don't have the answers. I'm just pointing out things right now to start asking questions. But the main thing is that if people know you, that's the value of being famous. If you're very famous and beloved, a famous artist, a famous politician, whatever, someone famous, there's a good chance that if someone catches you and you're homeless or having a bad time, they'll help you because they know who you are. They're aware of you. They're aware of how you act, your personality, what you bring to the table. They're aware of who you are. But we always pass by homeless people on the street. We always pass by people having problems, crying, sad, depressed. But we don't do anything to help them because we don't know anything about them. We have no frame of reference to who they are, where they came from, how they got in that position, and what we can even do. And rather than try to figure any of that out, we just kind of go on with our days and our lives, and we're like, it's their problem. Except we do that on like a national, society-wide, worldwide scale. And so unless you get someone who's very altruistic and empathetic and very Jesus-like, who's like, I'm going to help anyone who's having a hard time that I see, which is very rare, extremely rare to have that happen. By and large, most people who suffer are going to keep suffering unless something comes along that helps suffering people in general. Now, how do you protect yourself? The best thing I can see right here is just make your personality, who you are as a person, your presentation, the way you communicate with people, make that amazing and invaluable. Basically, you have to change your attitude. I think I opened up a book today in Barnes & Noble, just a random book. It's an Elon Musk book. I'm not a big fan of him personally, but I'm a fan of like his technology. And the page I opened up to was basically it's easier to teach someone skills than it is to get them to change their attitude. Like someone needs to go and change their entire life to change their attitude, but you can get someone who is unskilled to learn a skill over a certain period of time, and then they'll be best, as long as your attitude's good. And so the best thing I could think of is basically just to start shifting your attitude and your lifestyle to being a person that can actually provide intrinsic value with your presence, both in like personality, both in the way you are, the way you present yourself. Like you don't want to smell, you don't want to look dirty and messy, you don't want to be in a way that makes people feel uncomfortable, you don't want to be creepy. A lot of it is kind of a mix of conformity, but conformity with like your own identity, you know, where you're understanding the national things people see as good versus bad, but you're finding a way to do those things in a way that suits you rather than conforming to other people's ways of thinking and acting and everything. You're conforming to the idea of what is good in a way that you believe is also good. Does that make sense? I don't know.